For years, the story about Texas has been one of unstoppable growth. People flooded from California, New York, Illinois, chasing lower taxes, bigger homes, and better cost of living. And the numbers have backed it up. Year upon year upon year, Texas had led the entire nation in population growth. But in 2025, something shifted. Something different happened. Their growth did not stop. Texas still added more new residents than any other state. But the pace is cooling. Immigration slowed, outmigration is rising, and the housing market is starting to reflect a new and more complex reality. So today we're going to be unpacking the latest Census Bureau data on who is moving to Texas, where they're coming from, where they're actually landing once they arrive to Texas, and what all of this means if you're thinking about buying a home here in the state of Texas or San Antonio, or invested in Texas and real estate in 2026. Whether you're planning a move already here or just watching this market from the outside, stay with me because the full picture is a lot more interesting than the headline suggests. Now let's look at the census numbers. Let's start with the raw data because it tells a powerful story for you. According to the U.S. Census Bureau figures released in January 2026, Texas added 391,243 new residents in 2025 alone. That brings the state total to 31.7 million people, and it makes Texas the #1 state for population growth in the country. Again, to put that in perspective, Texas added roughly the population of a mid-sized American city in a single year. That's more than the total population of cities like St. Louis, Pittsburgh, or Orlando added together. And since 2020, Texas has added a staggering 2.6 million residents, the most of any state in the country over the same period. More than 2/3 of that growth came from migration, both domestic and international. But here's where the story gets a little bit interesting. Texas grew by only 1.2% in 2025. That's the slowest rate since 2021 and is dropping from the fastest growing state in the country all the way to 4th place in terms of pace of growth. South Carolina, Idaho, and North Carolina all grew faster on the percentage basis. So what's causing the slowdown? There's two things that are slowing it down. One, international migration or immigration to Texas dropped by 48%. You heard that right, 48%. That's the steepest decline, is largely tied to the Trump administration immigration enforcement policy, which drastically reduces the flow of newcomers arriving from abroad. Second, domestic migration. Americans moving to Texas from other states also slowed down significantly. In 2022, Texas gained 222,154 residents through net domestic migration. In 2025, that number fell to 28,000. That's nearly a 70% drop. State demographic Potter put it plainly, people who wanted to move to Texas might have already done so, and the broader economic uncertainty is making people more hesitant to making a major move at all. Where are all these people coming from? So who is exactly making the move to Texas, at least right now, and where are they coming from? According to a recent report tracking out-of-state movers to Texas, about 265,000 people relocated here from other states over the past year. Of those, California made up the largest share, roughly 14% of new arrivals. That's 1 in 7 new Texans coming in from the Golden State. Florida was second biggest source of new residents at 9.2%, followed by Colorado at 4.6%. Illinois, Arizona, and Louisiana also contribute significant numbers of new residents. The reason people give for moving are remarkably consistent: cost of living, housing affordability, job opportunity, and the absence of state income tax. Many movers, especially remote workers, decided trading a high-cost coastal lifestyle for more square footage in San Antonio or in Texas, a newer home, and money left over for the end of the month. Texas also benefits from an enormous diverse economy: energy, healthcare, technology, logistics, manufacturing, education. The job base is wide and deep, and major corporations continue to relocate their headquarters to Texas. The employment pool gets even stronger. But here's something that does not always make the headlines. Texas is also sending a lot of residents to other states. In fact, Texas was one of the top sources of new residents in 9 different states, including California, Colorado, Illinois, and Louisiana. Yes, people are moving back to California from Texas. The migration story is generally 2 directions. Once people make it to Texas, where exactly are they going? Because Texas is enormous, and the experience of living in Dallas is completely different from living in San Antonio or a small town in the hill country. 4 major metros continue to be the biggest magnets for new residents or people moving in from out of state. Dallas-Fort Worth is the nation's fastest growing major metro, adding 152,000 residents in a single recent year, the highest numeric gain in the United States. The region is also powered by a dense concentration of Fortune 500 companies, a booming logistic and industrial sector, and suburbs like Frisco, Plano, and McKinney that consistently rank among the fastest growing communities in the entire country. Houston. Now, Houston added nearly 140,000 residents, ranking second nationally. The metro has now exceeded 7.5 million people and remains one of the most culturally diverse regions in the United States. It comes from unique combination of global energy industry jobs, the world's largest medical complex at the Texas Medical Center, and housing prices that's still significantly more affordable than comparable cities on the coast. Now let's look at our hometown, San Antonio. San Antonio added approximately 48,000 residents over the past year. It's a market that really finds its footing as a destination for families and retirees who want major city amenities and a genuine accessible price point. The median home price here in San Antonio around $265,000, well below Austin's $440,000 or Dallas $400,000, and San Antonio was actually ranked the 13th real estate market to watch for investment prospects by PwC and the Urban Land Institute. Now let's look at Austin. Austin is the most complicated story of all 4. The city's still growing, still attracting tech talent and remote workers, and still added more than 50,000 residents annually across the metro. But it's also going through a significant correction. By mid-2025, Austin's median price had dropped 22% from a pandemic peak. It's a staggering $110,000 loss on the average priced home. Even so, prices are still 23% above 2022 levels. Now, beyond the big 4, small cities are absorbing tremendous overflow. Georgetown, New Braunfels, Cedar Park, to name a few, all posted some of the strongest population growth in the entire country. New Braunfels in particular has become one of the fastest growing cities in America, a remarkable factor for a city many people outside Texas have never ever heard of. The other side, why are people leaving Texas? Now let's talk about something the Texas crowd does not always advertise. People are leaving Texas too, in significant numbers. In 2024, Texas actually sent more residents to other states than any other state in the country. And while the inflow still outpaces the outflow, Texas is a net gainer overall. The growing number of Texans heading for the exit is worth understanding. So why are people leaving Texas? A few recurring reasons show up in the data. Housing costs. Texas built its reputation as an affordable alternative to coastal cities, but after years of rapid appreciation, prices in markets like Austin and Dallas are no longer bargains they once were. Many long-term Texans, especially younger residents and first-time buyers, are finding themselves priced out of cities they grew up in. States like Nevada, Arizona, and Florida are increasing competitively on housing affordability. Now let's look at traffic and congestion. The metros that grew the fastest also got more congested the fastest. Long commutes, structural strain infrastructure, and steering scale of sprawling cities like Houston and Dallas-Fort Worth are quality of life factors that push some residents toward smaller markets or other states entirely. Now let's look at property tax. This one surprises a lot of people who move to Texas expecting a tax-friendly environment. Texas does not have a state income tax, that's true, but it makes up for it for some of the highest property tax rates in the nation. For homeowners, that can be a significant outgoing cost that erodes the affordability advantage. Now let's look at climate and insurance. Extreme heat, flooding, and the memory of the events like 2021 winter storm have made home insurance in Texas increasingly expensive and increasingly harder to find. Some residents, particularly in flood-prone areas along the Gulf Coast, the combination of climate risk and insurance costs is becoming a deal breaker for many. What does this mean for the housing market? So what does all of this migration data actually mean for Texas housing market in 2026? The Texas Realtor Association just released their 2025 year-end review, and the numbers tell a nuisance story. The statewide median home price in 2025 came in at $335,000, a decline of 1.2% from the previous year. That might sound small, but it marks a meaningful shift after years of aggressive appreciation. Prices rose across 14 Texas metros and fell in 9. The decline were concentrated in 4 of the largest markets: Dallas, Houston, Austin, and of course here in San Antonio, which seen the most significant appreciation during the pandemic. Meanwhile, inventory is building. The number of homes for sale increased by 23.1% statewide. The average number of days of a home sits on the market before selling rose to 67 days, up for a full week from 2024. A month of supply, a key indicator of a market balance, reaching 4.6 months, which analysts say puts most Texas markets near equilibrium between buyers and sellers. That's actually a good news for buyers. For most of the past 5 years, Texas was one of the deepest seller favorite markets. Homes got multiple offers within days. Buyers had almost no negotiating power. The dynamic had shifted meaningfully, and buyers today have more options, more time, and more leverage than they've had in many years. For investors, the picture is more pronounced. Austin is still digesting its correction. Dallas and Houston are moderate. San Antonio remains one of the more stable and undervalued markets in the state of Texas. And suburb markets along I-35 corridor are still posting strong fundamentals driven by organic demand, not speculative fever. The I-35 corridor, America's next mega region. Here's one of the most compelling real estate narratives in the entire country right now. The stretch along I-35 running between San Antonio and Austin is quietly becoming one of the urban planners are calling America's next mega region. Think about that for a second. You have San Antonio, a city of 1.5 million people, and you have Austin, a city of nearly 1 million, separated by 80 miles. Between them, you have New Braunfels, you have San Marcos, two of the fastest growing cities in America, and its surrounding hill country. You have land that developers, investors, and ordinary homebuyers like you are eyeing aggressively. New Braunfels has seen explosive growth, driven by its position as a commuter distance from both cities, San Antonio and Austin. It offers small town character and Guadalupe and Comal rivers for outdoor recreation. Strong schools, home prices that are more accessible than either of the anchor metros, San Antonio and Austin. The infrastructure investment in these corridors are accelerating. New highways, expanded utilities, mixed-use development, all pointing to a future in which Austin and San Antonio Metro function as a single, interchangeable economic region. Some analysts believe that the corridor could eventually rival the Dallas-Fort Worth, Houston, San Antonio triangle as the dominant growth axis in the state of Texas. If you're looking for long-term appreciation opportunities in Texas real estate, this corridor deserves serious attention. What buyers and investors should do right now. Okay, so what's the practical takeaway for you? Whether you're a first-time buyer, a move-up buyer, or an investor thinking about Texas real estate, if you're a first-time buyer in Texas, the most favorable markets you've seen in years, inventory is up 23%, days of the markets are rising, the frenzy, no contingency over asking environment of 2021 and 2022 is gone. Take your time, get a pre-approved and focus on markets like San Antonio and Houston, where affordability still remains strong and fundamentals are mostly stable. If you're looking to move from another state, do your homework on property tax before you fall in love with a home. Texas homeowners pay some of the highest effective property taxes in the country, and the annual bill can add thousands to your real estate cost of home ownership. Make sure to factor that into your budget before you commit. If you're a current Texas homeowner thinking about selling, set realistic expectations. The days of pricing aggressively and watching offers roll in within 48 hours are largely behind us in many major metros. Price competitively, invest in presentation, and be patient. Demand's still there or still here. It just moves a little bit more slower now. Now, if you're thinking about moving to Texas, follow the people. San Antonio, the I-35 corridor, the secondary markets with strong job base and housing affordability are where the real opportunity lies. Look for submarkets where demand is organic, driven by actual job growth and housing formations rather than speculative momentum. Now here's the big picture. Texas still is #1 destination for residents in America. 391,000 people chose to make this state, Texas, their home in 2025. That does not happen by accident. It happens because Texas offers real value, jobs, affordability relative to other major states, no state income tax, and room to grow. But the story is getting a little bit more complex. Growth is slowing, outmigration is rising, some markets are correcting, and the easy appreciation of the pandemic era is over. That actually is healthier. Markets that grow too fast, too recklessly, create problems for everyone, you and me included, including people who most need housing to be more accessible. A more balanced Texas real estate market is more sustainable Texas real estate market overall. If you're thinking about making a move to Texas or making a move within Texas, now is one of the best moments in recent years to act with confidence. The negotiating table has shifted to your favor. Now, if you found this video useful, please hit that button right there so you'll never miss the next deep dive, or drop a comment below. I'd love to know, are you thinking about moving to Texas? Are you already here? Or are you a Texan thinking about what's next? Let's talk about it below. Until next time, know your market, do your homework, and make a move that makes sense for your life and your family. Like, share, and don't forget to subscribe.